am not a big believer in saving for the sake of saving. What I am a believer in is spending below your means. Saving alone will only get you so far, but spending less so that you can take that money and put it to work, investing it, growing it, is what actually moves the needle. In this video, I want to walk you through 9 things I stopped buying. And cutting these out has left me with significantly more money every single month without sacrificing my quality of life in any way that actually matters. Let's get into it. Number 1, physical books. I am not going to reread. I read a lot, and I genuinely believe reading is one of the best financial investments you can make. It builds your human capital, your knowledge, and your perspective. And that is something nobody can ever take away from you. Material things go out of fashion. They get lost. They can be stolen. Knowledge stays with you permanently once you have it. So now I keep my true all-time favorites in hard copy on my shelf and everything else. I either get on a Kindle or borrow for free through my local library using an app. It is the same value, the same knowledge, for a fraction of the cost, or none at all. Number 2, a brand new car. If you do not have the cash for it, simply do not buy it. The moment you drive a brand new car off the lot, it loses around 10% of its value instantly. By year 3, the average new car has lost a further 60% on top of that. I understand the appeal of a brand new car, but the real question is whether that feeling is worth the additional cost at this specific point in your life, or whether you would rather hold off, invest that difference, and let it generate the cash flow that eventually buys you that car outright on your terms later on. Number 3, souvenirs. I love traveling, flights, hotels, making memories. Those are things I will always spend more on. But souvenirs from every single trip are more than just a waste of money. They also clutter up your living space completely. I live in a smaller apartment, and the last thing I need is a shot glass or a fridge magnet from every city I have ever visited overflowing out of a drawer. If you genuinely want to remember a trip, write about it. I have kept a personal journal since I started traveling more seriously, and I write in it after every trip. Going back and reading those entries brings back far more detail and emotion than any souvenir ever could. Number 4, automatically buying the updated version. The rate at which new technology releases far exceeds our actual need to replace what we already own. And yet, most of us keep buying anyway. What I have noticed is that the more I already have of something, the less additional happiness any upgrade actually gives me. When I first got a smartwatch, there was a real jump in my day-to-day happiness. Going from nothing to having one, it genuinely made me feel healthier, more on top of my fitness, more organized. That was worth the money. But a year later, when the newer version came out and I spent a few $100s more to upgrade, the maybe 5% increase in happiness I got from the slightly better version did not come close to matching what I had spent. So now, whenever I am tempted to upgrade something, I ask myself one question first. Is this upgrade genuinely worth the extra money? Or would that same money create more happiness spent on a new experience or something I do not already own at all? Number 5, things I buy purely because they are on sale. There is a real difference between buying something on sale and buying something because it is on sale. Sales feel like a great way to save money, but stores are using a deliberate psychological trick to help you justify spending you were not planning to do. If there is a jacket you were already planning to buy and it happens to be marked down from $200 to $140, great. You have genuinely saved $60. But if you are buying it purely because it is discounted, the correct way to think about it is that you are $140 out of pocket on something you never actually planned for. Sales are a mechanism for getting you to buy things you would not otherwise have bought. And remember, it is you against multi-billion-dollar companies with entire teams and marketing budgets dedicated specifically to getting you to spend more. Number 6, investing in things I do not actually understand. This is not something I stopped buying so much as something I stopped putting my money into. A lot of people invest in things without genuinely understanding what they are investing in. Even if you work with a financial advisor, you should have a basic level of understanding of where your money is actually going. whether it aligns with your values, whether it is something you would choose if you fully understood it. Because no one will ever care about your money and where it ends up as much as you do. Number 7, fast fashion. I have mentioned before that I genuinely went a long stretch without buying a single new clothing item, and I did not think that was particularly remarkable until I noticed how surprised people were by it. I used to shop at every fast fashion retailer you can think of. But when I look at my closet today, almost none of those pieces survived. I spent a lot of money on things I wore a handful of times before they started falling apart or simply went out of style. Now, I am much more focused on quality over quantity when it comes to clothing. If something feels genuinely good and fits well, I will spend more on it, even if that means paying noticeably more than the fast fashion equivalent. And having fewer, better pieces frees up a surprising amount of mental space, too. I genuinely do not spend much time deciding what to wear, and that is one less decision draining my energy every single day. Number 8, anything high maintenance. Nails, lashes, regular hair color appointments. I have largely cut these out, and a big part of the reason is not just the cost, it is the time. When I'm sitting in a chair getting something done, I cannot work. I cannot do anything else productive at the same time. So for me, it is not only the dollar cost, it is the opportunity cost of an hour I could have spent somewhere with a greater return. I want to be clear. I do not apply this time value lens to everything in my life. Time with friends, family, date nights, none of that gets evaluated this way. And it would be a strange way to live if it did. But for the things that genuinely feel like a time sink with limited return, this lens has been incredibly useful in deciding what is actually worth it. Number 9, unnecessary holiday gift spending. Around the holidays, most of us give gifts to an extended list of people largely out of habit. Very often we end up giving and receiving things nobody particularly wanted or needed, purely because that is just what you do. The average American spends close to $1,000 on holiday gifts each year. I am no Grinch, and I genuinely love giving thoughtful gifts to the people closest to me. But there are far better ways to show people you care that do not involve obligatory spending neither of you actually wants. Time together, a handwritten note, an experience instead of an object. Removing the obligation entirely tends to be appreciated far more than people expect, and it often takes the pressure off the other person too. My overall philosophy on spending is simple. I have no problem spending money on things that genuinely bring me joy and real value. What I try to avoid is spending purely out of habit or because my ego wants to impress someone who, realistically, is not thinking about me nearly as much as I imagine they are. If you cut out spending driven by habit and spending driven by ego, you will be in a genuinely strong financial position. I like to think about every financial decision in terms of trade-offs. If I am buying something that is a liability, something that loses value over time, the real question is whether that extra money is worth the trade-off against my own financial freedom. Spending an extra few $1,000s on a nicer car might not feel like a big decision in the moment. But if the real choice is between that car and putting the same money into an investment, into your own education, into something that compounds and genuinely changes your financial trajectory, is the car really worth it? If you found this useful, subscribe. I post every week on money, mindset, and building a financial life that is actually yours. I will see you in the next one.